So hello everyone, in this video we'll be working on the blogs page in which we'll be grabbing all the blogs which are created in the document as a document in the MongoDB. So let's grab them, and first of all let's make this blogs in a different route. For example, right now on the home route we can see this home page, but for showing the blogs in a different route we need one package, actually two packages. The packages are React router and the React router DOM. So you can install them by using this npm I, and then you can save that, and after that you can start working along with me. So I've already installed it. After the installation you just have to go to the index.js file, and instead of this react.script mode or strict mode actually, so instead of this you have to add a browser router here. What browser router will do is it will actually allow us to use routes in the app component, because without that we cannot use the routes components or the routes act simply. So I can import that browser router from React router DOM. So it will allow us to create routes. It will act as a main container for the routes. Now in the app.js, we are actually creating or showing this home page only. If I want to show the other pages like blogs, so I can do that as well by wrapping it inside routes. You can see that it is also suggested to me. In here, I can specify route. So this is it. Self-closing will be the good one. In here we have two attributes. One is path, in which we specify for which route we are specifying, of which for which path we are actually specifying this element. Inside that I can specify the element which was home. Similarly, I can show for the blog path, I can show the different element or the different page. So I can import the blogs. You see that it is suggested to me. I can add a blogs link here. So if I save this, now everything should work. Let's see what happens in the front end. Yeah, so everything is working. Let's go to the route, which is blocks we created just now. You see that blocks is there. Now what we need to do actually is we also want to add a link, because we cannot go like this in a real world application. We add some links or navigation to move between different pages or different routes. So for that I'll actually be adding a link in here. So you can add a link by a tag as well, like in HTML, just like you do a href and then you specify the path. That is also fine, but that will rotate the wheel, or this, it will refresh this page, so that's we don't want. So that's why I'll be using it in a link component. I can import a link component from React Router DOM. I can specify the two attribute. Inside that I can specify the blogs. In between that I can specify all blogs link or the text I want on the link. So if I save that, you see there is a link all blogs. If I click on that, so I'll be redirected to this page which is blogs. I can go back. Let me just add one more link to the blogs page as well, so that will be equal for both of them. Let me just show it in a wrapper, and one heading should be there like blogs or all blogs. That will be good. I can specify the link component just like we did in the home. Inside that I can specify the home route. Now here I can write home. So if I go to the all blocks page, you can see that all blocks is there and this link is there. If I click on that link, so I'll be redirected to the home page. So these two links are there, and you see that wheel, they are not rotating actually. So that's why this is very efficient. If you're using for the pages, you don't have to use the a tag generally. If you use this link component from the React Router DOM, it will not reload the page actually. That is very good because we want this kind of dynamic behavior, so user can like it provides a good user experience. So that is done. Let's import, or let's get all the blocks in here in this block page. For that, I'll be just creating a state first in which I'll be storing all the blocks. So let's create all blocks state, and I can assign all blocks. I can use state and then an empty array. I can grab that from the React. Also, I need use effect because I want to get all the elements while this page is rendered. When this page is rendered, at that time I want all the documents. So for that, I'll be using use effect, and I will show you what is the standard procedure to get all the documents or make a query from a backend whenever you are using it in a use effect. So always use a function or create a function. For example, like this, get all functions, or sorry, get all blocks. Just like that, you can create any function. Yeah. Now inside that, I can specify try and a catch block. Try catch is for like catching the errors if there are any errors in the block of code. I can console log the error simply, and I can make the request just like we did in the home page, and I can add an await here, and I can use the access package from the access. I can import that. Yeah, in here we'll be making a get request, so I'll be using access.get, and the path name will be similar to that in the home page. If you go here, so I can grab this link and paste that here, and we don't want to send any data in the get, so we'll not be sending that. Let's just console log this response what we get actually. Yeah, also the path is not this one, create new block. Instead it was get all blocks, so which we created in the backend. The same path you have to specify here, or the same route, get blocks, get all blocks. And after that, this function is actually created, but we'll be calling this function on certain conditions. First, I'll be creating this is mounted variable. What this will do is it will only execute this function. Let me make it true. When the page is rendered successfully. So if the page is rendered, then only we want to make the request. Otherwise, it will not make the request. So that's why we are doing this. So I can make an if statement here, and I can add is mounted, and then I can call the function which is get all blocks, which we created just now. Also, I can return one arrow function on the unmounted state. This whenever we are returning in use effect, that means we are like the operation which we want to execute when the like page is unmounted actually. So on that time, what kind of information we want to execute when the page is unmounted, that we are specifying in this return. And after that, we can specify the function. Inside that function, we will not be doing anything. We just be specifying is mounted false. So this is it. Let's actually see it inside the blocks page, let it compile. And if I go to the all blocks page, and if I see the console now, you can see that this object is there which we console logged, and inside that object there is one special property which is data, in which our all data from the backend is there. You can see that. So single items are there. So these items will be actually rendering. So let's set them in a state by setting it set all blocks. Yeah, and I can grab the response.data object, which is an array. I can come uncomment or comment this console log. Now I can render this one in a div. I can add a card group class to it, class name card group. You can add any class, we'll be styling them later. Now in here I can render all the blocks by accessing the state, and for rendering we use this map method of an array. So whenever you want to render an array, you will be using this map method. Inside that we get an arrow function. We use an arrow function or any function you can use. Inside that you can specify the item. You get this item property, or you can write any name, for example blog you can write, but this object will be the main item from the array. So these will be, this item will be actually the individual items, this one. So in the first iteration it will be like this, and in the second one it will be this, and so on. Now I can render or return it in a div. I can specify one div here, and inside that div I can add a class name, for example card, or anything you can write. And very important, this key. So what this key will do is it will actually tell React that these are the individual items. So it React will able to differentiate between the other items or other divs actually, or other cards actually. So this is very important to make differentiation between the cards. We'll be specifying the ID, and it should always be unique. So that's why I use this ID property, because we get this ID property automatically from the MongoDB, and these are all unique. So you can use this one, and inside that I can use h2 and specify the title. I can grab the item dot title. So these are the properties we are accessing from the individual items, like this title, category, and the other one. If I expand that, so you will see all the other one as well. Similarly, I can specify in a small tag, I can specify the category, item dot category, and in a p tag I can specify item dot description. Yeah, so that's it. Let's save it and see what happens now. These are some minor errors which ID is supposed to give me. So you can see that everything is rendered correctly, but the styling is a bit off. So let's style it a little bit. So we can go into the global styling page, which is app.css, and style them. Card group. The card group should be a display flex. Let's add that, and I can add a flex wrap, and for the card I'll be giving it a width, for example let's say 300 pixel. I can specify a margin of 15 pixel. I can specify the padding of 10 pixel. I can specify some border, 1 pixel solid light gray maybe, and that's it. I think that is good. Let's see what happens now. You see that? So it is now created. Let's add some more thing here, more styling. You can style whatever you want actually, so it's up to you. Let me just make p tag a little bit off. That's not looking good. I think it should be a little bit gray. Yeah. Similarly, I can make the card small tag as a background color if I want. Light gray, padding 5 pixel, 10 pixel, font weight, bold. Or I can specify the blue color. That will be good, I think, because it should look like a tag. And color should be white, I think. That will be good. So if I do that, you can see it is looking cool. Let's give some border as well. Border radius 5 pixel. So this is it. We actually created all these blocks. We can also create their individual pages, but that will not be in this video. I just wanted to show you how you can create the backend and the front end and you can connect with them. So let's create one more example and see if that is implemented in the all blocks or not. For example, we can create Black Adam. That's coming, I think. Is strong. Let's add Marvel or the comics category. He is the strongest, I think. Let's submit this. So it is submitted because the fields are empty now. So we can go to the all blocks and see if that is there. You see here, it is now coming. And these all are from the database. So if we refresh that, it doesn't impact that. So it is there. We can also create some delete and the other operations, which you can see in my REST API tutorials, uh, like how I managed to do that. So you can see that if you want to learn more about REST APIs, like the CRUD operations, how we can make CRUD operations in MERN Stack. Basically, in this series, I wanted to show you how you can actually create both the things. So this is it. Let's meet in the another one. Thank you for watching.